Group A kicked off with Northern Ireland obtaining an expected 3-1 win against Luxembourg. Meanwhile, Germany keep up their underwhelming performances ever since the Nations League, conceding 2 goals to Slovakia. In the next match day, Slovakia scored a last-minute winner to barely get the job done against Luxembourg. Meanwhile, Germany actually did choke for once, beating Northern Ireland 3-1.
Perfectly balanced. This whole thing should be.
This sees Slovakia top of the group. Meanwhile, Northern Ireland are second ahead of the Germans, who are in the absolute mud right now. And as for Luxembourg, they're kind of cooked. Next in Group B was an exciting match between Euro 2020-24 surprises Slovenia against one of the best attacks in Europe, Sweden. Sweden's attack seemed to get the job done after Newcastle forward Elaga gave them the lead, but they clearly got to work on their defense after conceding right after the break. Sweden, however, found what would have been the winner, only for Slovenia to find the equalizer in the 90th minute. Switzerland, however, got an expected start taking care of business against Kosovo. Speaking of Kosovo, they keep proving how fraudulent and underwhelming Sweden are, with the respite dodge and Murky finding the back of the net. Switzerland again keep dominating the group with 3-0 win over Slovenia. This sees them top with Kosovo in second. Meanwhile, Slovenia and Sweden are both underwhelming beyond comprehension. Greece started brilliantly in Group C with a 5-1 demolition of Belarus, while 2 other favorites for the World Cup spot, Denmark and Scotland, both couldn't be separated. Scotland, however, got their first win against Belarus thanks to Che Adams and an own goal. Greece, to the surprise of many after being considered favorites for this group, got absolutely violated by Denmark, but they are just 1 point behind both Denmark and Scotland. As for Belarus, they are finished. Iceland, just like Greece, started with 5 goals this time for them against Azerbaijan. Ukraine, unlike in 2022 qualifying, couldn't hold the French, and Mbappe assisted Elisa and scored one of his own. And just like in 2022 qualifying, however, Ukraine are drawing like it's no tomorrow yet again. Looks like Iceland are returning to their 26th seed to 18 form. The French attack was too much for them to bear, however, and Mbappe and Barcola scored, putting them top just 3 points ahead of Iceland. Meanwhile, this terrible Ukraine team and Azerbaijan are chilling at the bottom. The Euro 2020-24 rematch kicked off Group E, and it was just as entertaining as the Euro 2020-24 matchup, with Turkey taking the lead inside 3 minutes. After Toglu scored a brace, but only before Datvishvili pulled one back. Kvaratskhelia eventually got a second, but it was too little too late. Bulgaria, who have been abysmal in recent times, keep that record up, losing to Spain 3-0 and Georgia 3-0. But at least they did better against Spain than Turkey, who got absolutely fisted by Spain 6-0. Spain are quite obviously top and will most likely qualify, but the fight for the playoff spot between Georgia and Turkey will be really entertaining. And Bulgaria are pretty much out of it, just 2 games in already. Portugal are already red hot with a 5-0 win against Armenia, with the GOAT scoring an absolute screamer and another goal to get closer to 1,000 goals. Hungary went 2-0 up within 15 minutes against Ireland, but they somehow bottled to this fake golden generation, with Evan Ferguson pulling one back and Adam Ida finding an injury time equalizer. Ireland keep underperforming to expectations after going 2-0 down to Armenia. This is the lowest of the lows, even worse than losing to Luxembourg. Portugal somehow went down to Hungary, but they soon came back through Bernardo Silva, and Portugal took the lead with a Ronaldo penalty. Barnabas Varga, the original goal scorer, tied it up, only for Cancelo to find the winner just 2 minutes later. And with that, Portugal survived a major scare and are now top of the group with 6 out of 6 points, 3 clear of Armenia, who are actually in second now. Hungary and especially Ireland, however, have both been terrible and are playing like the Montserrat. Now over to the 5-team groups, beginning with Group G, where Lithuania fucked up their already low chances after falling behind to Malta and barely escaping with a point after a late penalty. Meanwhile, the Dutch took an expected lead, but the Polish held them to a draw with another full back Matty Cash leveling the scores. Memphis Depay gave the Dutch another expected lead, with Quentin Timber doubling that lead. However, the Lithuanians hit back with 2 of their own before the break. However, midway through the second half, Depay found the winner to become the Dutch national team's all-time top goal scorer, surpassing the great Robin van Persie. Poland obtained a crucial 3-1 win, which now puts them joint top with the Dutch on 10 points. The Finns, after their loss to Poland, are now languishing in third, but they are just 3 points away from the playoff spot. And as for Lithuania, they couldn't even beat Malta, so safe to say both of them are not qualified. However, it is looking likely for Austria after the 1-0 win against Cyprus, thanks to a Sabitzer penalty. Meanwhile, Bosnia, who they played in their next match, destroyed San Marino 6-0. In that match between Austria and Bosnia, Sabitzer struck yet again to give the Austrians the lead, but Dzeko proves that the UNC has still got it, equalizing not even a minute later. However, Konrad Leimer found the winner to give Austria a crucial crucial win for their qualification hope. Meanwhile, Romania went 2-0 up and were busy choking their qualification chances. Cyprus. After this win, Bosnia and Austria are tied for first on 12 points. And as for Romania, it isn't looking too good for them after drawing 2-2 to Cyprus. Speaking of Cyprus, it isn't looking too good for them as well, but that was a really good point to obtain if they want even a shot at qualifying. And as for San Marino, they can't even qualify automatically, but there is a shot for them in the playoffs as they did win their Nations League group a while back. Israel and Italy destroyed their opponents 4-0 and 5-0 respectively. In the next match, they both played each other, and Italy continued their underwhelming form, conceding an own goal to Israel. Moise Kean soon leveled the scores, but just 12 minutes later, midfielder Dort Beretz brought the lead back, only for Kean to strike again 2 minutes later. Matteo Politano turned the tide in favor of Italy, and Raspadori extended the lead late on. However, Israel weren't done. Dort Beretz went brace for brace with Moise Kean, and Bastoni scored Italy's second own goal. Italy would have the final say, with not only finding the winner in injury time to get Italy needed points. Meanwhile, Norway were busy making the suicide rate in Moldova 10 times higher, with Holland scoring 5 goals and making 2 assists. This sees Norway top with maximum points, 6 clear of Italy and Israel in second and third. Estonia, after their loss to Italy, they can no longer qualify automatically, but there is still a chance for the playoffs. Same goes for Moldova, but only due to the Nations League result. Kiefer Moore gave the Welsh all 3 important points against Kazakhstan, while Belgium absolutely dominated Liechtenstein 6-0. The next match day saw complete annihilation, with North Macedonia and Belgium beating Liechtenstein and Kazakhstan 5-0 and 6-0 respectively. After the loss to the Macedonians, Liechtenstein are out, and after losing to Belgium, Kazakhstan can no longer automatically qualify. Meanwhile, at the top, it's just a 1-point gap between North Macedonia and first to the Welsh in third. Vlahovic scored an important goal to win another match for Serbia against Latvia, and England took care of business against Andorra, winning 2-0. Albania barely scraped past the Latvians thanks to a penalty. After that would be a match that determined the fate of the group. Could the Serbians pull off an upset? Well, it wasn't even close, with England destroying them 5-0, leaving them top with 15 for 15 points and 7 clear of Albania in second. The Albanians are just 1 point ahead of Serbia, and as for Latvia and Andorra, they can no longer automatically qualify, but there is still hope for the playoff. The Faroe Islands, just like Latvia, keep putting up impressive fights, but just falling short, barely losing to Croatia 1-0. Montenegro couldn't get past the Czechs, who scored in the 30th and 96th minute in this match. Faroe Islands, after barely losing to Croatia, barely won themselves against Gibraltar, eliminating them in the process. Montenegro's hopes are pretty much diminished now that they just lost 4-0 to the Croatians, putting them fourth behind the flipping Faroe Islands, for God's sake. 6 points behind the Czechs in second. It's looking like it will be a battle between just the Czech Republic and Croatia, as they are tying up points, but Croatia has the advantage. We start with Group A, where Sierra Leone obtained the upper hand, but Guinea-Bissau soon leveled late in the second half, resulting in both sides being unable to be separated. Burkina Faso eliminated Djibouti in the next game, destroying them 6-0, while Egypt scraped past Ethiopia thanks to penalties. Guinea-Bissau managed to beat Djibouti in the next match, winning 2-0, and Sierra Leone beat Ethiopia by the same scoreline, eliminating them in the process. Next was the match that would determine if Egypt qualified to the World Cup early. A win would see them both through, but it resulted in a 0-0 draw, meaning Egypt still have to win, but they at least guaranteed up the second round. As for Sierra Leone and Guinea-Bissau, they may not be able to qualify automatically anymore, but they still have a chance via the playoff. In Group B, Dr. Congo obtained another crucial win, destroying the Southern Sudanese 4-1. Mauritania obtained a useless win against Togo 2-0, as both teams are now eliminated after Senegal's 2-0 win over Sudan, ending Sudan's unbeaten run in qualifying. Next, Dr. Congo had the chance to get the upper hand over Senegal, and they took that chance with Bakambu putting them in the lead and Whistle making it 2-0. However, just 6 minutes later, Papa Day pulled one back, and Nicolas Jackson leveled the scores in the second half. Dr. Congo officially choked the lead with that, and bought a chance from the point later on, with Papa Madassar finding the winner. Sudan kept on fucking their chances up after conceding early on to already eliminating Togo. It's the Senegal, who were questionable earlier on in qualifying, silenced the doubters, while Senegal are languishing in third. 4 points outside inside a playoff spot occupied for Dr. Congo, while the other half of the group is fully eliminated. Benin started this window in brilliant form with Steve Rooney giving Benin a needed win for their qualifying hopes. South Africa, who they're competing against for the spot, did even better with a 3-0 win in Lesotho, while Nigeria barely scraped past for Rwanda 1-0. Rwanda did redeem themselves against Zimbabwe 1-0, eliminating them, while South Africa almost qualified for the first time since 2010 after going 1-0 up, but they soon modeled to a Calvin Bassey goal, delaying their return to the tournament. Benin kept up their imperious form, however, destroying Lesotho 6-0, fully eliminating them after such a promising start. This leaves South Africa top with 17 points, 3 points clear of Benin, and one more win in the next window sees them qualify for the World Cup. Nigeria and Rwanda are both tied on 11 points, and are 3 points behind Benin themselves. Meanwhile, Lesotho and Zimbabwe are both eliminated. Libya obtained a crucial win for the qualification hopes under the former Senegal coach with a 1-0 win over Angola. Cape Verde kept up their impressive campaign with a 2-0 win away in Mauritius, while Cameroon obtained an expected 3-0 win against Eswatini, eliminating them. Libya obtained another crucial win, 2-0 against Eswatini, to get them closer to their World Cup dream, which Cape Verde are on the verge of getting to first after beating Cameroon. They're just now one win away from making history and qualifying for the first ever World Cup. And Angola, despite winning 3-1 and eliminating Mauritius, they can no longer automatically qualify due to the results elsewhere. Over in Group E, Congo were officially eliminated after a 1-1 draw to Tanzania, and from one end of the spectrum to another, Morocco qualified after defeating Niger 5-0. Meaning the fight for the second spot is on between Zambia, Tanzania, and Niger, with Niger obtaining the upper hand after beating Tanzania 1-0. And as for Zambia, they couldn't get past the impenetrable Morocco, which leaves Morocco being unable to be touched by anyone, and Tanzania are in the second spot, 11 points behind them, trying to hold off Niger, and Zambia, who are 4 points behind them and at a disadvantage. Gabon Destroyer already eliminated Seychelles 4-0, while the Ivorians barely scraped past Burundi 1-0. Gambia, despite them being eliminated, took Kenya down with them actually showing up, beating them 3-1. They thought, why not do 2-1 also, taking down Burundi with them in a 2-0 win, eliminating the Burundians. The match at the top, Gabon against Ivory Coast, the group decider, both teams couldn't be separated, so Gabon are just 1 point behind the Ivorians, while every other team besides Gabon and Ivory Coast is out. Algeria beat Botswana to get even closer to making the World Cup for the first time since 2014. Meanwhile, Guinea obtained a crucial 3-0 win over already eliminated Somalia. Mozambique yet again got destroyed in another important match, 4-0. They did manage to redeem themselves against Botswana, eliminating them in the process, but with Uganda's 2-0 win over Somalia, they overtake them in the table. And Algeria couldn't be Guinea, meaning they have to wait a month to make their return to the World Cup. But the next match is Somalia, so come on. Anyways, Algerians are 4 points clear of Uganda and Mozambique, who are both in the race for that second place spot. And despite Guinea's draw to Algeria, they can no longer automatically qualify, but there still is hope through the playoffs. Sao Tome and Principe obtained a shock lead over in Group H thanks to 2 penalties, but Equatorial Guinea woke up and actually started playing football again, coming back to win 3-2. Tunisia obtained another win, getting them closer to qualifying themselves with a 3-0 win against Liberia. Malawi obtained needed points due to a 2-1 win over Namibia. At stake, Tunisia beat Equatorial Guinea with a last-minute winner to take them to the World Cup for the 3rd straight time. In the fight for the playoff spot, Liberia took a 2-0 lead over Malawi, but they choked, conceding 2 late goals in just 8 minutes. Meanwhile, Namibia beat Sao Tome and Principe with Mamelodi Sundowns striker Peter Shahuliland scoring a hat-trick, leaving Namibia with the advantage to advance to the playoffs going into the final match. 4 points clear of Liberia and 5 clear of Malawi and Equatorial Guinea, while Sao Tome and Principe are already out. Ghana were playing already eliminated Chad and went up 1-0 as expected, but somehow bottled in the last minute to Chad. Meanwhile, Madagascar got another expected 2-0 win against the Central African Republic. Mali destroyed the Comoros 3-0 nets, but they did redeem themselves in the next match with a 2-0 win over Central African Republic, fully eliminating them. Madagascar obtained 6 for 6 points this window with 3-1 win over Chad, and Ghana, after their horse show against Chad, somehow ended up beating Mali 1-0, leaving them top of the group, 3 points clear of Madagascar and second and 4 clear of the Comoros. And Mali, after the loss to Ghana, can no longer automatically qualify, well, the Central African Republic and Chad are both eliminated. Now the 4 best second place teams on course for qualifying for the playoffs are Gabon, Madagascar, surprisingly Dr. Congo, and Burkina Faso. And the teams hungry looking for a chance are Cameroon, Namibia, and Uganda, of all teams, Benin, and Tanzania. Now for CONCACAF, the final round began with Suriname and Panama not being able to separate themselves in Group A. But El Salvador pulled off an upset over Guatemala with a 1-0 win. El Salvador weren't able to beat Suriname, however, going 1-0 down. They did manage to pull it back to 1-1, but a late winner sealed a crucial win for Suriname. Meanwhile, Panama fell behind to Guatemala and barely salvaged a point just 2 minutes later. Leaving it underrated, Suriname topped the group to the surprise of many with 4 points. El Salvador, despite the loss, are just 1 point behind in second, while both Panama and Guatemala are chilling at the bottom winless. Jamaica in Group B started hot 4-0 against Bermuda, while Trinidad and Curacao couldn't be separated. Jamaica obtained their second straight win with a 2-0 win over Trinidad and Tobago. Curacao went 2-0 up themselves, but somehow choked Bermuda, but they managed to find the winner in the second half, meaning they are second with 4 points, 2 behind Jamaica, and 3 clear of an underwhelming Trinidad, while Bermuda are just chilling at the bottom. And finally, in Group C, both my team Honduras and Haiti couldn't be separated, ending 0-0. Costa Rica went up to the surprise of no one, but bottled to a penalty as Nicaragua salvaged the draw. Costa Rica then went 2-0 up against Haiti, but bottled yet again towards the start of the second half, and late on Haiti found what would be the winner with Dawkins Nazon completing his hat-trick, only for Costa Rica to find the late equalizer, and Haiti failed to pull off the upset. Honduras then beat Nicaragua 2-0 thanks to 2 second-half goals, putting us top on course for our first World Cup since 2014. 2 points clear of Costa Rica and Haiti. Meanwhile, Nicaragua aren't doing that bad considering their group, but despite that, are last with 1 measly point. The final window in CONMEBOL qualifying began with Uruguay qualifying for the World Cup yet again after a 3-0 win over Peru. Colombia also qualified, beating Bolivia by the same scoreline. And the final South American team to qualify for now is Paraguay after the 0-0 draw to Ecuador. And in the final important match of the match day, Venezuela missed out on an opportunity to get needed points, losing to Argentina 3-0. Only 2 matches in the final match day actually mattered: Venezuela against Colombia and Bolivia against Brazil. And 3 minutes into the Venezuela match, Segovia gives Venezuela a crucial lead. However, Yerry Mina soon hit back for the Colombians, only for Joseph Martinez to bring back the lead 2 minutes later. Luis Suarez, no, not that one, this one, leveled the scores right before the break. Over in El Alto, Miguel Terceros does what seemed impossible and puts the Bolivians ahead of Brazil with a penalty. Not a good sign for Venezuela considering the game is a must-win now. Then in the second half, Venezuela played worse than Guam and conceded 3 more goals for it to be 5-2. The Venezuelans did pull it back, but Colombia weren't having it and made it 3-6. And as a result, Venezuela are out and Bolivia qualified for the Intercontinental playoffs ahead of them. Anyways, that's gonna wrap it up for today. Hope you all enjoyed. Make sure to like and subscribe. This has taken me a while to make. Also, check out the sponsor of today's video, Crestvale Hosting. This video is sponsored by Crestvale Hosting. Crestvale Hosting is a server hosting platform where you can purchase your very own servers for games including GTA 5 and American Truck Simulator, with Minecraft servers being a planned addition later on. It would really help me out if you check out the link and buy the servers. I'd really appreciate it. Now let's get on with the video. And yeah, I'll see you all later. Goodbye.